Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and today we're going to talk about more amendments to the auditor's report, but in this scenario, it's specifically related to the 800 series. So we're going to look at the AICPA's proposal, which is a proposed SAS, amendments to AUC section 800, 805, and 810 to incorporate auditor reporting changes. We knew this was coming because when they issued SAS 134, they only addressed the basic financial statements under GAAP, right? The 700 section. They didn't address if it was not a financial reporting framework like a special purpose framework. And so we knew that this was going to have to come out to do some conforming amendments. However, there were some hot button items that needed to be addressed. So let's start off here with a little bit of background. So again, this came out in August of 2019. Comments are due October 28th of 2019. And SAS 134 really was the impetus for this because when they issued this back in May, they were still working on the 800 section. So it wasn't like this was something they did after. It was being done concurrently with, but they needed a final 134 in order to do these other changes. So in the 800 section, we have three key areas. We have the 800 section, which is AUC 800. That's when you're reporting in accordance with a special purpose framework like cash basis, tax basis. Then you have AUC 805, which is regarding a single financial statement or an element, account, or item within a financial statement. So if you're giving an opinion, for example, on the balance sheet. And then AUC 810, which is on summary financial statements. And so they had to have some conforming amendments for all three. We're going to focus on 800, but obviously all three get very similar changes. So the first thing that you're going to notice here is how they refer to special purpose frameworks. Today, they actually list the types of special purpose frameworks in the definition, and that's changing. So the designation of cash, tax, regulatory, contractual, and other bases as examples rather than part of the definition. So today, it's in the definition listing them out. Going forward, they're going to tighten up the definition and then list these as examples in the application material. So you can see here the current definition is going to be really shortened, and so it's just going to be a financial reporting framework other than GAAP designed to meet the financial information needs of specific users. And you'll notice that they've removed cash, tax, regulatory, contractual, and other basis and their definitions from the definition of a special purpose framework. Instead, in A1, again, this is the application material, they then give examples of special purpose frameworks, including cash, tax, regulatory basis, but they don't list them inside of the definition. So one of the big areas that got a lot of attention was in the area of going concern, because not all special purpose frameworks are going concern basis of accounting. I mean, in fact, tax, you have to file a tax return even if you're dead, right? You have to file your final tax return. So as a result, it's not necessarily a going concern basis. And so there were questions as to the new addition of the going concern verbiage related to management's responsibility, how that would interplay. And so it does clarify that AUC section 570 does apply to special purpose frameworks. And in fact, they actually added a whole introductory paragraph in the standard to help people understand that. They then also clarified that in all special purpose framework audits, irrespective of whether the going concern basis is used, we still as auditors have to conclude whether there's substantial doubt. And if there is substantial doubt, we need to evaluate the disclosures, even if it's not a going concern basis. And so putting it back on the auditor as a must, noting that management has slightly different requirements. So depending again on the applicable financial reporting framework, the description in the auditor's report of management's responsibility may need to be adapted and in some scenarios actually just deleted because it's not applicable. Management doesn't have a going concern consideration there. And you can also see how there will be certain adaptations needed regarding the auditor's responsibility as well. So when you are going to have a special purpose framework and you're going to have the financial statements prepared according to contractual or other basis. So if you're using a contractual basis, which would be defined in a contract not suitable for everybody, or another basis, there's now a new EOM requirement that you have to state that the financial statements may not be suitable for another purpose. So for those of you who work in government, you've seen this type of restricted language before, but it might be new to others. So let's take a look at an example here. So here's a report on the financial statements. The opinion starts out exactly the same. We talk about the company, the who, the what, and the when, right? So the name of the company, the name of the financial statements that are being audited, the when, which is the period of time. And then you can see here that this is a report on the audit of financial statements, so the statement of assets and liabilities, as well as the statement of revenues collected and expenses paid. So obviously special purpose framework. You'll notice the opinion reads very similarly in all material respects, and then it says in accordance with the cash basis of accounting described in note X. We then have our emphasis of matter, basis of accounting paragraph here that explains that we are using a different basis of accounting and that we're not modifying our opinion, that it's an other than a GAAP type of report. You'll notice in the responsibilities of management under cash basis, there's no going concern consideration. So they do talk about the responsibilities for preparation and fair presentation, as well as design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control. So that's not going away. But the paragraph that's in the new SAS 134 is removed regarding going concern considerations for management. So that's sort of the 800 section. In 805, again, when we're looking at this one, we're looking at a single financial statement or a particular line item. So again, going concern may or may not be appropriate. So you would have to consider and adapt as necessary or just omit if not relevant. So how do you know if something is relevant, right? So considering whether a matter that is included in the auditor's report is relevant is in the context of the engagement to report on a single financial statement involves a lot of professional judgment. So factors that may be relevant in considering whether a matter included in the auditor's report is relevant in the context of the engagement would include the nature of the matters described, the pervasiveness of the matter, the nature and extent of differences, the extent of differences between periods, and the time elapsed since the date of the report on the complete set of financial statements. All right, so these are just some factors that they've added to topic 805. Topic 810 are summary financial statements, and in summary financial statements, they do not contain all the disclosures typically, and there's some differences on how we do this. And one of the things that the old report would have was be a listing of the procedures. That's going to be deleted here. So you'll notice here that in the past we had to list out the procedures that we would do. Those have been removed under this standard, and we aren't going to list them out the same way that the old standard required. So this is proposed to be effective, same as what we would have had for SAS 134, which is for financial statement periods ending on or after December 15, 2020, because we want to adopt SAS 134 for all reports, regardless of the basis of accounting. Early implementation is not permitted for SAS 134, will not be permitted for this SAS either. All right, so that's a wrap. Just again, a little bit of an update on what we're looking for as we go through this in terms of some of the changes that are coming to the reports for cash basis, tax basis, et cetera, as well as summary and a single set of financial statements as opposed to the full set. So hopefully you found this helpful, and I hope to see you on a future General Learning blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.